There was something quietly different about the way Barış Arduç first noticed Elçin Sangu. It wasn't dramatic. No sudden moment, no overwhelming realization. Just a simple awareness, like noticing a familiar song playing softly in the background. They met in a professional setting, surrounded by lights, scripts, and a team that moved quickly from one scene to another. Everything was structured, planned, and timed. But somehow between all of that, their conversations never felt rushed. First, it was just polite exchanges. Good morning. Ready for today? Let's make this scene better. Nothing more. Nothing less. But what stood out was how natural it felt. There was no effort to impress, no need to say more than necessary. And maybe that's where it all began. Barış was known for his calm presence. He didn't speak too much, but when he did, his words carried weight. Elçin, on the other hand, had a warmth that made people feel comfortable instantly. She had this way of listening that made conversations feel important, no matter how simple they were. One afternoon during a break, they found themselves sitting near each other without planning it. No cameras, no script, just a quiet moment. Do you ever feel like everything moves too fast? Elçin asked, looking at the sky. Barış smiled slightly. Only when I try to keep up with it. She laughed softly. So you don't. I just go at my own pace. That small exchange stayed with her longer than she expected. Days turned into weeks, and their work required them to spend more time together. But what made things different was how their connection didn't feel forced. There was no sudden closeness, no instant bond. It grew slowly, like two people walking side by side, not realizing they had chosen the same path. Sometimes they would rehearse scenes multiple times, adjusting small details. In between, they would talk about ordinary things, favorite foods, childhood memories, quiet places they liked. Nothing extraordinary, but somehow those simple conversations created something meaningful. Barış noticed how Elçin never tried to be someone else. She was always herself, whether in front of the camera or behind it. That kind of honesty was rare. Elçin noticed how Barış never rushed anything. He took his time understanding people, situations, and even emotions. It made her feel at ease. There was no pressure to define what was happening between them. No labels. No expectations. Just a growing sense of comfort. One evening, after a long day of filming, the set had started to empty. Most of the crew had already left, and the lights were being turned off one by one. They stayed behind a little longer. Not because they had to, as they didn't feel like leaving just yet. It's strange, Elçin said, breaking the silence. We spend all day pretending to be other people, but somehow these moments feel more real. Barış looked at her, thoughtful. Maybe because we're not pretending right now. That sentence lingered in the air. It wasn't said with any hidden meaning, but it felt important. From that day on, something shifted. Not in a way that was obvious to others, but for them it was clear. They started noticing the small things. The way their conversations lasted a little longer. The way silence between them never felt uncomfortable. The way they understood each other without needing too many words. Still, neither of them tried to rush it. There was no need. Because whatever this was, it didn't feel like something that needed to be defined immediately. It was enough to just let it grow. Naturally. Slowly. Like a story that unfolds one page at a time, without skipping ahead. One day, during a particularly emotional scene, something unexpected happened. The lines were the same. The setting was the same. But the feeling was different. It felt real. Too real. When the scene ended, there was a brief silence on set. Even the director didn't speak immediately, because everyone could feel it. That moment wasn't just acting. Afterward, they didn't talk about it. They didn't need to. Some things are better understood without words. That night, as they were leaving, Elçin paused for a moment. Do you think some connections just happen without us trying? She asked. Barış nodded. The best ones do. She smiled but didn't say anything else. Because deep down she already knew. This wasn't something sudden. This wasn't something intense or overwhelming. It was something steady. Something calm. Something real. And maybe that's why it felt so special. Not because it was extraordinary, but because it wasn't trying to be. It was just happening. Slowly. Naturally. And neither of them felt the need to change that.